Alright, book colleagues, I am trying a vlog. It's not something I normally do. In summer, I don't normally vlog, but it is Draconathon and it means a lot to my friend Rachel, so I thought I would try vlogging for Draconathon. Now, two things. If you can hear the aircon, you're going to hear the aircon because I can't be just turning it off every single time I need to do an update. It's too hot. I'm in southern Spain in August. It's not happening. I am really sorry. If the lighting is funky, it's the heat. I'm not shitting you. It is the heat. Every time I film or vlog in this kind of heat, the lighting goes a bit funky. It's sometimes a bit foggy. It is what it is, okay? I am very, very sorry. However, like I said, I don't know if this vlog's going to see the light of day. We'll see. But I am going to be doing Draconathon. I have 4 books. I can't guarantee I'm going to get to all of them. This vlog is probably going to be like a month long of just me checking in here and there. So, for the TBR, MBR, maybe read, I don't know. I have 2 digital books. The first one is Dragon Fruit. Now, all I know of Dragon Fruit is that it's like a YA adult crossover-y kind of vibe. Basically, it's YA, but Rachel said that it's fine if I don't normally read YA. And this is a Polynesian, I believe, Polynesian vibes fantasy, and that the dragons are like sea dragons. I'm down for that. Sounds cool. I've got the ebook for it. Other one I have, I believe, is Indigenous Native American, and this one is To Shape a Dragon's Breath. And I don't know anything else about these 2. I literally know nothing other than that Rachel has said I should read them, and they were cheap ebooks, so I thought, why not? And this one I believe is actually YA, so we'll see how I fare with it. And then for physical books, both of these are courtesy of Mare from Lady Mare Reads. Everyone that I mentioned is going to be linked down below. The first one that I have is The Sword Defiant by Gareth Hanrahan, and this one is an Irish inspired one, I believe, and it sounds quite generic fantasy, quite, I said in my haul, it looks a bit fantasy, but I am excited to give it a try. I've heard good things. The synopsis wasn't grabbing me, so this is one that I am kind of okay starting the series, even though I normally binge them. This one is like prophecies, swords and sorcery, and I did see dragons listed on the Goodreads, so I'm hoping that this pulls through with that, but if not, then oh well. And the last one that I have is Between Dragons and Their Wrath by Devin Mason. Devin Mason normally writes queer fantasy, so I'm hoping this has some queer rap in it. This one is a broken binding edition. So we've got spreaders, and then we've got Under the Dust Jacket foiling as well. Again, I know very little about any of these. This one I'm very excited for. It is actually blurbed by a load of authors that I love. We've got Sam Hawke on the back, who's the author of the City of Lies, that series. Andrea Stewart, who is an author who I've read her books and had mixed feelings on, but I do really appreciate the author. And then we've got also Anna Stevens, who's the author of Godblind, one of my favorite series. Love that series. So like a lot of people who I trust reviewer wise as well have liked this. It has mixed reviews, so I'm unsure if I'm gonna like it, but a lot of people that I trust seem to have liked it, so hopefully I will love it. But again, I know very little about it. Since I don't know anything about these books, I decided that I would ask my husband to choose, and he chose Between Dragons and Their Wrath, so that's what we're starting with. And then if I need an ebook at any point, I will probably start with Dragon Fruit, and then yeah, I'll just read these throughout the month, check in when I have something to say, and who knows if this vlog actually comes into existence or not. Hey vlog, so it's the next day. I appreciate I'm pretty much in the same position and you can still hear the aircon. This is my life, okay? Don't judge me. Anyway, I have managed to start one of the books. I have started Between Dragons and Their Wrath. I am now on page 72, so I have read the first 3 chapters, and I figured I'd check in now because I have flicked through, and we have in fact met all 3 of the POVs that we are now going to be following throughout this book, so I thought I would now be in a better position to tell you what what this book is about, etc. The 3 POVs that we have had so far, the first one that we follow is Tesha, and she is apprentice to this, I think he's basically like a glass blower, but he's a craftsman, but he also crafts with dragon scales, and there's like a shortage of dragon scales, and she's working for this man, and we are following her as her people, who have been a democratic people, have suddenly kind of been overruled, and a vote that was supposed to happen the coming week gets overruled, and the ruling class decide to just go ahead with joining this alliance despite the vote not having actually taken place. It's how her people feel about that, how she herself feels about that. It was quite an interesting kind of insight into the society. Our protagonist's views, for example, our protagonist is not really in favor of like getting married because like they believe that it kind of goes against the idea of community if you are devoted to one specific person in a way, which I thought was really a really interesting take. Then the next one that we have is Shadi, who is the only male perspective that we get, and he is a dragon rider. He doesn't actually like, he doesn't have like a really good bond with it. Like he does, but he doesn't. Like they have, I can't fully tell if it's proper banter or just like they've learned to put up with each other and their banter is based on like, what, you fucking die, like I can't be bothered to be around you anymore. But it's like done humorously and they work together, but I think it's probably stemming from the fact they probably didn't like each other and have grown to like each other, and now they have this bond / banter. And that was quite an interesting perspective. We have it where he's like training, it's kind of a military vibe, not quite an academy because he is part of this military, more like military bases where you kind of have to upkeep your training and stuff, and following him was really interesting. And then the other perspective that we have is, I'm gonna say it's Naili, and she is a laundress to this wizard, alchemist, sorcerer. What does it say he is here? Alchemist. She has been getting these abilities that she shouldn't have, possibly as a product of like cleaning his clothes, and she is part of this like group of women who are kind of trying to figure out these powers. But yeah, it's been interesting so far. I haven't really connected with any of the characters in any kind of meaningful way yet, so it has felt a bit slow going because these chapters, obviously you get 1 chapter per character and the chapters are quite long, so these chapters felt very introductory. It felt very much like, this is who this character is, this is what they do, this is where they're at, and this is how they're relevant to the plot in some way, shape or form. In Naili's case, I don't even know how she's relevant to everyone else's plot yet. Like it's just basically what we're focusing on from each character is what's been introduced so far, which again for 72 pages is quite slow going. So I'm kind of just assuming that I just need to take my time with it. So it's not one that I'm like dying to pick up. So then I'm a bit like, oh, okay, I guess I'll read, instead of like, yeah, let's go read. But I am really enjoying it when I'm reading. Like it is interesting, it's well written, the world building is fascinating, and I'm curious to see what all of this is going to lead to and what all of this means. I just don't have any actual meaningful connection to anything yet. Like I'm just getting dumped with a load of terminology, a load of characters, because they're all in different places and they're not alone in these places. So it's a load of characters, a load of terms, a load of world building, and an introduction to the characters, and that's taken 72 pages. So I am really hoping that now that we've met everyone, things are actually going to start feeling a bit more meaningful. I am okay with the book being plot driven as opposed to character driven, so that's not really a huge issue. Just at the minute, obviously, because it's only introducing everything, we haven't really had much in the way of plot aside from like moving the chess pieces, and we haven't had any time really for any emotional connection. So at the moment, I'm being driven solely on intrigue, on like interest in this world and in what the potential could be for this story at the moment. So I shall continue. I probably won't update you for a while now unless I have anything interesting to say in regards to the book. If not, I'll update you at like the halfway point or something, because it doesn't seem very logical to just keep doing like daily updates if I haven't reached any kind of meaningful advancement in my thoughts. Hey vlog, it's been a couple days since I last updated you. I have no idea. Time means nothing. I went to some caves yesterday, which is rather appropriate for a dragon vlog, I think. And then we're celebrating my nan's birthday, so taken away some of the reading time. But I have actually managed to read a bit. And as I said, I would check in when I got to a sensible place in between dragons and their wrath. And I have, because a sensible place is halfway. There are 3 perspectives in this story, which I've already mentioned. I'm not going to go give you a synopsis every time I pick it up. But I'm really liking one of the perspectives, which is the laundress, which out of the 3 perspectives, like when you read the synopsis, we've got one that is someone who is going to help with the politicking as an assassin through a marriage. You've got one that is a dragon rider in the middle of a conflict. And we have a laundress who might have some magic because she cleans an alchemist's bedding and clothes. And she's the most interesting, which is odd. So she's the only one whose perspective I'm like really, really vibing with. And really not fussed at all about Ashadi, who is the dragon rider. I don't feel like I connect with his character at all. So I'm not interested in his story. I'm not even interested in his dragon, which is saying something. Like, I'm really liking the world building part and the intrigue around his perspective. I really do enjoy the way that he is presented with his plot and his conflict and the way that other people are behaving around him. So there's intrigue there. Like, I am interested in his story. I'm just not interested in him enough to actually be invested in it on any kind of level, aside from, oh, it's your chapter, I will continue reading. Tasha, I don't like her, but I don't think it matters to the plot. Like, I find her quite annoying. She's the kind of character that I don't normally vibe with. There are a couple of types of female archetypes of characters, I suppose, that irk me a little bit. One of them is not like other girls. And then there's this one where how do I explain it? You have characters who are in a patriarchal society and they want to help their own people, and they have this level of self-righteousness that comes with that. And it's like, geez, you're in this society where you're being bartered for marriage, and yeah, you want to be in on it, you want to be part of the plot, and this is how you're going to do so. But the level of self-righteousness that comes with it is really annoying, because it's like, babe, all women are not in a good place right now. And it's not even like she's looking down on other women. I can't really explain. It's just this idea of, my society isn't bad, there are just flaws. And I understand, we've all been there, right? And anyone who is anti-establishment in any way, shape, or form, we've all been there. We've all been there. Like, it's not the whole system that's the problem. We just need to fix these things and everything will be fine. And then you get more cynical and you realize, oh no, the system is actually functioning exactly as it was designed to. That's the point. And therefore the system is wrong. And I get that you need to watch the characters go through that. I had the same thing with Some Desperate Glory. Spoiler vlog somewhere. But a similar thing with Some Desperate Glory, where you have a character who is part of this society and then needs to dismantle that in their head. I understand. I get it. But Jesus Christ, watching the process can be so exhausting. It can just be so exhausting. So, I like her, I dislike her, all in one. So, we'll see how that goes. But I am liking the other perspective. I am liking Naily? I'm never sure on the pronunciation of that one. But yeah, I have mixed feelings at the moment. And we're halfway. So I can't imagine that's going to evolve drastically in the second half. So I'm having a good time. I like the world building. I like the writing. I have some quirks, I suppose, as well about it. I did also briefly start an ebook today. I started Dragon Fruit. And this one, I'm not far in at all. I have no idea what percentage I'm in, because you are my phone. Should I have checked that before updating? Probably. Am I a fully functional human being at the moment? No, I'm not. So I am liking the setting. The setting's very cool. It's a kind of Polynesian inspired setting. In this story, we are following a young girl whose father stole a dragon egg. So dragon eggs are basically, they're called dragon fruit, and they're like a magic wish. You know, they're like the flower in Rapunzel. You get whatever you want from the dragon egg. It can heal you, it can get you out of an unwanted marriage, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff it says in the synopsis. And her father stole the egg that was supposed to save the princess, and now they're exiled. And we're following her. And I really like the setting. The setting's very cool. The world building, very interesting. I want more. That sounds weird. I'm an epic fantasy girly. This is YA. This is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing for its target audience. So this isn't a diss at the book. The book is doing very well what it's supposed to be doing for teenagers, which is snappy, keep your attention going, very interesting world building, easy to root for character. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So obviously this is a vlog about my personal opinion, and therefore anyone watching the vlog potentially has at least a level of trust in my taste. So I'm going to explain why I am struggling with it, at least for now, despite the fact that it's objectively not a bad book and is doing exactly what it intended to do. I don't read a lot of YA anymore, and the YA that I do read, I very much want to be brainless. I want to be able to be borderline comatose and still be having a good time. That's the only reason I read YA. It's out there, okay? I read Sarah J Maas, I read Caraval, I read romances that are super, super pacey, and I need minus numbers with neurons. That's where I'm at with YA. I don't read any other YA because I really did find that, similar to what I'm having with this book, I would come across a YA book that I think is actually really well constructed, really well written, and is introducing a new culture and is quite thematically rich and has a decent plot and really good character work. And I appreciate those, but I'm no longer their audience. And I feel that. So in this case, yes, the world building is fantastic for a YA audience who don't want a ton of description because of where their brains are going to be at. And I don't mean that as a diss towards teenagers. Same as with everything, you kind of get used to a certain thing and then it progresses. And I do appreciate that YA is by design less dense than adult fantasy. So all this to say that the world building is really good for a YA book. Like, it is doing what it's supposed to be doing for its audience. But as someone who reads Malazan or Realm of the Elderlings, I have needs that are not being met when it comes to the world building, because I really love my dense epic fantasies, and in a world that I'm finding this interesting, it's to its detriment because it makes me want more. Same as with the characters, interesting enough backstory, I'm not getting enough depth for them. They're supposed to be easy and relatable for their target audience, while I would want nuanced, flawed, more in-depth characters than I'm getting on page. So it's literally not the book's fault. The book is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and I am still having a decent enough time reading it. But this is why I stopped reading YA. It's not actually a diss to YA. I think they're a fantastic stepping stone for their intended target audience. I am just no longer that intended target audience. So when I return to YA and I'm like, oh, I don't like reading YA anymore because it's just too easy. And I don't mean that condescendingly. So then if anyone questions like, oh, but you read Sarah J Maas? It's like, yes, because that's also doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, which is allowing my brain to go to sleep while still reading. I know what I'm looking for in my YA, and the things that are in this YA are just not going hard enough. I had the same critique when I reread the Inheritance Cycle, the Aragon books. Similar critique with the Children of Blood and Bone series. There's so many series that's like, yes, this is fantastic, and if I'd read it as a teen, I would love it. But now as an adult, I want so much more from it because it's rich, and I want it to be richer, and it's got interesting characters, but I want more nuance. And all of the things that I get from adult fantasy that is not intended for YA fantasy. So that is something that I am struggling a little bit with this one, because I don't want to criticize it too harshly, and at the same time, I am completely unfussed about the book, but not through a fault of its own. I don't know if I'm going to DNF it. I don't know if I'm going to kind of continue through. Again, I've got all of August to read these books. I've got 2 YAs on there that I spent, I think, 90p on. I'm okay if I DNF them, but they are ones that I wanted to try because they are representing cultures that are not very frequently represented in fantasy, one being Polynesian and the other being Native American. So I did still want to support these authors, and I did still want to give these a try, knowing full well that I, in all likelihood, will not be giving them a glowing rating, not because there's anything wrong with the books, but because they are not intended for me as a reader. So long ass winded update, but I am having a weird time with this one, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having the time I expected to be having with Dragon Fruit, and we'll see how I fare and whether or not I continue with it. Hey vlog, I have a few updates. I actually have 3 different updates, and all of my updates lately have been long, so I'm not going to do that. I am just going to whisk on through these. First one being that I have finished Between Dragons and Their Wrath. This has come out at 3.5 on Corpile. I am unsure if I'm going to be giving it 3 stars or 4 stars, because much of the same sentiments that I kind of had when I was at the halfway point is that I'm really invested in the world. The world is interesting. I did like the way some of the plots kind of panned out, and there was one POV that I did really enjoy, but pretty much all of the same complaints that I had about it at the halfway point still stand as well. So all of the things that I liked about it still there, all the things that I had issues with also still there. So there were too many things for me that I had issue with for it to be like new favorite, this is fantastic, but at the same time I was very interested in certain elements of it, so I have very mixed feelings on it, and I don't really know how to reconcile that. So I don't know if I'm going to leave it for a little bit, and then I think afterwards decide if I'm going to be giving it 3 stars or 4 stars, because again, the 4-star elements were very solidly 4 stars, but there were just too many things that kind of dragged down that rating a little bit for me to be like definite. So we'll see. But I don't have a huge amount more to say on this than I had in the first half. I don't feel like the ending was necessarily something that hugely changed my feelings or my opinion on the book. I don't feel like anything throughout it had a huge impact on my feelings for it throughout the whole book. I think I've been feeling rather the same about it for the entire time, and it was mostly running on intrigue as opposed to any kind of emotional connection and or plot that I think was really strong. It was more just I was curious about the world, and I was interested how certain things would pan out as opposed to like an overall plot that had me really invested. But like I said, the good things were good, the bad things were bad. I'll let you know at the end of the vlog what I've ended up rating it. I have read a little bit more of Dragon Fruit, which again I've been reading on my phone, and again I don't have anything more to add to this. I don't really know why I'm continuing, other than, like I said, I don't want this to be a book I DNF. I want to support the author. I really appreciate that we're actually getting a variety of culture within our fantasy, and it's always something I want to support, and it's not a bad book. I'm just not the intended audience for it. So I don't know how to go about, like, how do I DNF a book that I'm not disliking just because it's not grabbing me? My brain doesn't know how to handle that. So I think that's just something that I might just kind of keep plodding on with it. I don't really know. Again, I've got the month to figure it out, but you know, I do my monthly wrap-ups, which are fine when I do like the video ones where I chat about it. But for example, I have on my Instagram stories, I have a graphic, and I don't want the graphic to represent, oh, I gave this book a DNF, like it's not worthy of any star ratings, because that's not accurate. But at the same time, I'm not enjoying my time enough to actually want to continue. So I'm having odd mixed feelings about it at the moment. Then I have started The Sword Defiant by Gareth Hanrahan. I am 2 chapters in, which puts me at page 32. So not very far, but I have started it. So I figured I'd mention what it's about and like initial thoughts before I get into the nitty-gritty of it. So this is the story of Alf, who is one of like the 9, and you have where basically you kind of have the typical setup for a fantasy of like this group of individuals, this like fellowship for want of a better word, all go and they need to go defeat this Dark Lord, and they do so, they succeed, and now we're following afterwards. I have read, this is the 3rd book of this nature that I have read this year. I read The Coward by Stephen Arion, which follows the sole survivor of this big expedition type epic fantasy, and we're following him as he is being sent back to where he survived last time. I also read This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher, and that is one where once again we are following these heroes after they managed to save the realm, and now I'm following this one where we're following a hero who saved the realm, and now he needs to kind of go back and finish off the evil that him and his companions are defeated, and he needs to summon his friends, but on the synopsis it says that some of his friends may not even be good guys anymore. I don't really know how that works. So I'm very excited to continue and see how it contrasts, because of the 2 that I have read, one was absolutely fantastic and one really didn't work for me. So I don't know at the moment if this is a trope that I like or not, of like, let's pick up the story after the story. We'll see how I fare with this one. I'm liking the writing style so far. I'm liking the way that we're getting information. There was one bit so far that we've had where the information was through dialogue. Now, whenever we get information through dialogue, dialogue, I am very picky with how it's put forward, because when you are talking about characters who have known each other for a really long time, so this happened, I think they said 22 years before. Yeah, like they haven't seen, like all of this happened about 22 years ago. They haven't seen each other in a while. So these characters have known each other for a really long time. So there was one part of the dialogue that makes sense. So he's, I went back to this village, names the village, where I'm from. And then the other characters, yeah, I remember. My friends, maybe they'll have forgotten which city I am from, like which city I am born from. It's not always relevant depending on where life takes you. So that I understand. But then there was another bit that was like, that happened right here. Do you remember? And it's like, of course they fucking remember. It's a hugely pivotal point of their life. How would they not remember, So it's just things like that where it's like, sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't, to give information through dialogue. Like, that could have been just like a thought in his head. There's third person omniscient, so like you can still get his thoughts. So he could have just had that thought instead of like saying it out loud as part of conversation. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to have it as a conversation for me. So there's that. I'm excited to continue. I have been enjoying reading it, and I have been wanting to pick it back up. I'm enjoying it enough that I'm like carting it around with me to read. So at least it's got that going for it. So I'm going to go continue on with this, and I will again check in either when something of note happens or when I get halfway or something. And then I'll be able to let you know once and for all what I do with Dragon Fruit. Hey vlog, lighting is terrible, but here we are. I have some updates, so I thought I'd quickly check in because I am now a little bit over the halfway point of the Sword Defiant. I am actually really liking this. It's really weird. This is, I think I already mentioned, this is the third time that I have read this trope of like this group of heroes having to kind of like get the band back together in some way, shape or form, or a hero having to go back on to like finish a quest later on in life. I've had such mixed experiences with this trope because again, one of them I gave 4 stars, one of them I gave 2 stars, and then this one I am now really enjoying. So it's been an odd experience. I am really looking forward to continuing. I am really enjoying it. I didn't really read very much at all yesterday. I think I read like 2 chapters yesterday. And I was going to check in, but I got completely just enraptured with sorting out magical readathon planning and didn't check in the end. I think one of the things with this one is that it's not actually doing anything overtly new. It's just got slightly older characters and more wizened characters and characters who already know each other doing these things. And I think that that works really well, and that's why this trope works well in this one. So while in like The Coward by Stephen Arion, it had where the character is on his own and he's having to like revisit his trauma. In this one, it's more seeing how this entire group of people has been affected by the events that happened previous to the book and how they are dealing with that as opposed to just one person. And I am really enjoying that aspect, and I am excited to continue. We'll see by the end of it if this is a series I'm going to go like pick up the sequels immediately or if I will just kind of wait it out and see if it stays with me. But for now, I am finding that the characters aren't necessarily ones that I'm feeling very strongly about. They're not ones that I love, but I'm just enjoying the plot. This one feels a lot more plot centered. It feels a lot more just like I'm here for the vibes. I'm here to see what happens. There's a lot of intrigue elements here. And while I can't imagine that this is going to be overly surprising, I don't think there's going to be a lot in here that's going to completely shock me. I am having a fun time with some of these tropes that I've seen before and some of the setups that I've seen before done in a new and slightly more refreshed manner. So I am hoping that that continues and I continue to enjoy it until the end. I did also pick up a digital book because I needed a digital book so that I could read on my phone, and I have been reading Rise Red Kingdom. I know that at the beginning of the video I said that I was going to try To Shape a Dragon's Breath, but with that one, because I didn't have the best time with dragon fruit for all of the reasons that I've already explained, I don't want to go straight into another YA. It just seems counterintuitive to like DNF one YA to go into another YA. So I'm going to save that one for another time. There's the Indigenous Readathon that happens, I believe, in November, so that might be worth a try. I don't know. I'm not going to read it now. Anyway, I am, however, therefore reading Rise Red Kingdom, which is the second book in the Burn Red Skies series by Kirsten Espinosa Rosero. I really liked book one. Book one got 4 stars from me. It's one of the SBFBO 7 finalists, being still my favourite year that we've ever had of SBFBO. There have been fantastic books in other years, but that one, just like all of the finalists, looked absolutely amazing. And I'm trying to work my way through reading them all. And yeah, this is a sequel. And again, I really liked book one. It's epic fantasy, and I can't talk very much about this one, so I just kind of figured I would mention that I'm reading it, and then if anything noteworthy comes up, I'll talk about it. I probably could have done with rereading the first one before jumping into this one, but as I said, I really wanted to just read something on my phone, and that one really grabbed my attention. I was like, yes, I really want to read that, and I did, because I have the first book physically, so and again, I didn't need a physical read, so I just thought I'll catch it as I go, and I have picked up, and I'm fine where I am. I think I would probably appreciate it even more if I'd reread book one, but it's not lost on me. I'm not enjoying it, and I'm not missing out, I don't think, on a huge amount. But yeah, I'm having a really good time. I really enjoy Espinosa Rosero's writing style. She's also a fantastic artist as well. Like, she does a lot of the art for a lot of the anthologies that I read, all of the like self-pub anthologies. So I'm really enjoying being back in this world. I'm really enjoying being back with this story. I can't wait for it to conclude. And yeah, for now I'm having a good time. So I am reading things that I'm enjoying. I'm reading some really typical like epic fantasy, like dragon stuff, but with a little bit of a twist, which I find really enjoyable. So while this one, as I said, isn't necessarily the most unique read, I'm still enjoying it. And while this one is arguably not the most unique setup, it's still so much fun, and I just love the way that Kirsten Espinosa Rosero goes about it. Like, she makes it feel unique. Even the things that we're used to seeing in fantasy, she does it in such a way that feels so unique and really enjoyable. And she's a really underappreciated author as well. So yeah, I would recommend checking the series out if you haven't. So yeah, that's it for this update. So I'm going to go continue reading this now tonight, and then whenever I need to read something on my phone, I'll continue with Rise Red Kingdom. I'm about 30% of the way into that one. It's not going to be one again that I can talk about very easily, because it is the second book in a not very well-known first book. So yeah, we'll see when I can check in again. Probably when I finish this one. Maybe we'll see where I'm at with Rise Red Kingdom by that point, but I don't think I'm going to have a huge amount more updates. Hey vlog, I thought I would check in because I have finished one book and I've gotten a decent chunk of the ways into another. So I have finished Rise Red Kingdom. I still obviously can't talk about it. So this is an interesting one because this series is quite a complicated, quite a dense series. It's not very long, but there's a lot of terminology in it. There's a lot of world building. There's a lot you need to retain. So like I said at the beginning, I think it would have been better if I had read book one again, but it picked up enough that I genuinely didn't need to, and I still really enjoyed my time with this book. I love the world building in here. I find the writing style so digestible. This is another 4-star read from me. So the first one was 4 stars. This is also 4 stars. I can't say that there is a huge step up in terms of quality, that it didn't really need one. I would say that this one follows on really nicely from book one when it comes to both the quality and the way that the plot carries over. I think the characters, from what I remember, seem still very consistent. So I had a great time with this book, and I would recommend checking out this series. It's such an underhyped series, so I'm hoping that another book is coming. I mean, the way it ended, I definitely feel like we need another book, but no news on it, so I don't know. I am excited nonetheless to continue in this series if more books come out. But yeah, I would recommend checking it out. I can't, as I said, I can't really talk on it too much because it's not the kind of series easily broken down where I can still talk about the sequel in a way that wouldn't be spoilery for book one. But I had such a great time with the writing style and getting really immersed in the world again. So yeah, not much more that I can say aside from go check it out. I have also made some decent progress in the Sword Defiant. I'm hoping to go finish this tonight. I got to part 3, so the book's in 3 parts, and I'm really liking the direction this is going in. I really do find the prose super digestible, super easy to get through. It's really easy. It feels familiar. Even though this is the first book by this author I've ever read, it feels familiar. And that's what I like from this kind of epic fantasy, where because we are following characters who have already lived in this world, characters who have already had an adventure in this world, the fact that then everything feels familiar feels very deliberate. It feels very much like the author has chosen to make it seem like we know that these guys went through a lot. We know that these characters did all of this in the story before. We know that what they've been through with very little information. Just, yes, that feels like someone who has been through some shit. That sounds like someone who has had an adventure prior to this book. This world feels lived in. And then obviously because these characters had all of this stuff happen 20 years ago, the familiarity of that writing style I think pulls through really well. It makes it feel like, yes, we know a story happened before this, as though this is reading a sequel series. Even though we're not reading a sequel series, there is no previous book to this. It feels like it feels somehow like I've been here before. And I feel like that feels very deliberate on the author's behalf. So I'm really excited to get to the last portion of this one. I have ordered the sequels. I've ordered books 2 and 3 so that I can continue on with the series, because yes, I am having a good time. Now, Mare, who is the person that gifted this to me, said that she liked this one and didn't like the second one, so she really enjoyed this one. I think she gave this one maybe like a low 4-star, and then I think she really didn't enjoy the sequel and didn't read the third one. I'm wondering if I will feel the same and whether I should have just bought book 2 instead of books 2 and 3, but they were cheap, so I figured I would just pick them both up and I will binge the series and then be able to give some thoughts on it. So yeah, I am looking forward to continuing the series, which means that I'm clearly having a very good time with this first one. So once I am done with it, I will come and wrap up this vlog. I know I've bought the sequels, but I won't be reading them now because I have another series that I want to read now. I'm in the mood to read, basically, and I am mood reading this summer. So I will pick up the sequels probably sometime after Magical Readathon. So yeah, once I'm finished with this one, I'll come wrap up the vlog, and then we'll see when I get round to books 2 and 3. Hey vlog, I am here to wrap up. I figured I would first wrap up my final thoughts on the Sword Defiant. As I said, I have picked up sequel and the final book. I've got the whole trilogy. I've got the other 2 on the way. I did enjoy the ending of this. I am excited to continue, and I know, as I said, that Mare has not had the best time with the sequel, but I am hoping that I will still enjoy it enough, and then that maybe the third one will pull through. I am interested enough to continue. This went in a way that I wasn't actually expecting it to go, and I did actually not cry or anything. I wasn't that connected to it, sadly, but there were definitely some moments that I felt were a lot more impactful than I had expected they would be. So this one ended up a 4-star for me. So therefore, to wrap up all of the books, the book I was most excited for ended up getting a 3.5. The book I was least excited for got a 4-star. I then obviously had Dragon Fruit, which ended up being sadly a DNF. But again, I will reiterate one more time, not through any fault of the book. And if it sounds interesting to you and you do still enjoy YA, please do give it a go and do not have me put you off. The final one, because I didn't read To Shape a Dragon's Breath, it seemed the wrong time to be doing so. I did instead pick up Rise Red Kingdom, which again got 4 stars, and I am really glad to have read. So I think for the most part, I've had a very successful Draconathon. I am not reading any more dragon books. I just decided I'd do this 4-book thing. I could have continued for the rest of the month. I've still got plenty of days in the month, but I have decided that I'm just taking a chill second half of August, which is what I need, and especially given that I'm going to be going very into intense with Magical Readathon. I do really like to. It's a time of month that I really love to push myself. It's a motivator to make me push myself. So I'm not going to then continue to read a load of dense stuff now, because I had considered Malazan because it has got a dragon in it. But yeah, I've decided not to do that. I read 2 other books throughout the month that also have dragons in them. I finished The Broken Sword by L.L. McRae, which is the last book in the Dragon Spirit series. I gave it 5 stars. One of my all-time favorite series. Please go check it out. And then I also read The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam, which also has dragons in it. So I've read quite a few dragon books. I didn't do any of this based on the prompts. I suppose I could go through the prompts with you. Should we do that? Should I take you to my computer and we can go through the prompts and see which ones I have fulfilled? I think you can double up anyway. So let's go see which ones I've fulfilled. We'll go do that. So this is less than ideal lighting, but it's what we're working with. So we have the deck of cards here that I've pulled up on my computer, and we have the first one, which is the Knight, which is to read a dragon book with knights or warriors. Now we do have the Sword Defiant that has knights. Yeah, I think this is the only one that would work for knight specifically, but we do have a knight. Next is The Lover. Read a dragon book with LGBTQIA plus main character or rep. Both The Broken Sword by L.L. McRae and also Between Dragons and Their Wrath would count for a protagonist. And then there's also representation for queer characters in Rise Red Kingdom. I didn't get far enough into Dragonfruit to know if there are any queer characters. The Creative. Read a dragon book with lyrical, poetic writing or a short story. I don't think I have accomplished this one. I have not read any short stories, and all of these I would not say would fit at least what this is, the extreme that I think this is trying to discuss. The Planner. Read a standalone novel. For this one, I could count Dragonfruit, but again, I DNF'd it, so it depends on whether or not that applies. For the Adventurer, we have read a book with quests or adventure. This one definitely is very questy, so I will go with this one, but also Broken Sword would work for this too. The Supporter. Read a book with found family, platonic love, or sibling dynamics. For that one, we could go with The Broken Sword. We could go with the kind of group previous, like 9 heroes from The Sword Defiant. And also there is kind of like a, not quite found family, but like a group of friends that then subdivide romantically in The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam. The Thinker. Read a dragon book with light, dark academia, the arcane, or libraries. I don't think that any of them really fit that. I suppose if you're talking about the arcane, you do have the Sorcerer in Between Dragons and Their Wrath, and he is kind of like studying, and he is that typical sorcerer in a tower kind of dude. So there is that, and then we do also have like a librarian character in here, but I don't think they quite fit what their prompt is truly asking. The next one we have is The Thief. Read a dragon book with thievery, riches, or heists. I don't think that any of them really fit that. I mean, we do have where our character, we have one who is trying to be part of like an assassination plot, but I don't think that that would count in this one. So, oh wait, for the thief, for thievery in Dragonfruit, if we're counting Dragonfruit still, the father at the beginning, like before the story starts, stole a dragon egg. So there is kind of that actually. The Rebel. Read a dragon book with rebellions, wars, and uprisings. So with that, we have Between Dragons and Their Wrath, we have The Broken Sword, and we also have Rise Red Kingdom. For the Visionary, we have Read a Dragon book with a beautiful cover. I mostly wanted this because of both the naked cover and then the cover. So we'll go with this one. The Master Builder. Read a book that is part of a series. All of the books that I have read barring Dragonfruit are all parts of series. The World. Read a dragon book outside of your country. Now we have Devin Mason, who is from Australia, but I don't know if that really matters here. But then of course we have Dragonfruit, which is Polynesian inspired. We have Rise Red Kingdom. The author is Filipino, so I don't know if that would count because I don't know if the Philippine culture is what inspired it. I don't know how much it's pulling from multiple cultures, but there's a few. But yeah, that's the end of this video. That's the end of this vlog. So that is a total of 4 books read for this vlog and 6 dragon books read in total. I think that's pretty good going for a month for Draconathon, for a vlog that I wasn't even intending on doing. So hopefully you guys have gotten some recommendations out of this, or you've at least enjoyed watching my experience with them, if nothing else. And yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this video here. I am probably not gonna be doing any more vlogging now until September, where I will be vlogging, as I said, Magical Readathon. So do stay tuned for that. I will probably be doing weekly vlogs for that. And again, I take it very seriously, probably not in a healthy way. So yeah, hopefully you guys will stick around and join me for that. But yeah, that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye.